Welcome back to this second edition of Prophecy Notes here on this December the 29th. This is Thursday, December 29th of 2011. We've been talking pretty much about the arrogance of Iran and the happenings that are taking place in the Middle East and what exactly part that the United States is taking in those happenings, those events. Personally, what I've been seeing and what I've been hearing about our own President Barack Obama is that pretty much he's living the life of Riley and ignoring the things that are taking place in the Middle East. He has not, as of yet, sat down with Iran, which is one of the things that he told us that he was going to do at the very beginning. And meanwhile, Iran is building up. They say that right now they have over 50,000 missiles. Some have even purported that there's over 150,000 missiles that are aimed right now at this very moment at the country of Israel. That it is their feeling and their desire, their goal to take out Israel. And in fact, it's been mentioned that there's not even any Israel on the maps in Iran. In fact, the students that are going to college there in Iran, they're asking, why is everybody talking about Israel? There is no Israel on the world map anywhere. And they're right as far as their textbooks are concerned. Friend, the caliphate is alive and well. And I don't know if you remember the prophecy pundits about 15 to 20 years ago talking about the New World Order. And anyone who did was considered to be a conspiracy theorist or a religious terrorist, which is basically what you and I are being called today. Anyone who does this is being called or being labeled as a religious terrorist and is subject to trouble from the United States government and to be even shut down if they so desire. But if you remember back when the talk about the New World Order first came out, there were several who thought of it as though these people were buffoons, that they were clowns, that basically they were conspiracy theorists. And yet here recently we have heard nothing but the statement, the New World Order, by people of renown. We're talking about Sarkozy, we're talking about the German Chancellor, we're talking about Cameron from United Kingdom, we're talking about Martin from Canada. And what about these celebrities? George H.W. Bush Sr. came along on September the 11th of 1991 and announced a New World Order to be established through the United Nations. In fact, his exact words were this: "We have before us the opportunity to forge for ourselves and for future generations a new world order, a world where the rule of law, not the rule of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be," he says, "we have a real chance at this new world order, an order in which a credible United Nations can use its peacekeeping role to fulfill the promise and vision of the UN's founders." Now that was George Bush on September the 11th, 1991. Now, that's a pretty interesting date, wouldn't you think? September the 11th of 1991, 91191, which spells to me nothing but trouble. Henry Kissinger stated in 1994 that the New World Order cannot happen without the United States participation, as we are the most significant single component, he says. Yes, there will be a New World Order, and it will force the United States to change its perceptions. It will force the United States to change its perceptions. That's interesting. Why? Because on January the 5th, 2009, when asked on television by CNBC about what Kissinger suggests Barack Obama's focus might be during the current Israeli crisis, which was going on at that time and is continually going on, he replied, "It is time to reevaluate American foreign policy." And Barack Obama gives new impetus to American foreign policy. I think that his task will be to develop an overall strategy for America in this period when a real new world order can be created. What did Barack Obama say when he first stood before the Americans just the night before the election? He said, "Are you ready to fundamentally change America?" He worked on, campaigned on, and stood on changing America. And he's done just that. This is a man who has grown of Marxist and Ayatollah Khomeini faith. He has believed from the very beginning in the doctrines of Ayatollah Khomeini and Karl Marx. And he has fundamentally changed America. He's fundamentally destroyed America. Now, I could go on and on here, and I have a list of several of these. If you'd like to get a hold of the notes on the New World Order comments, you can write to me here at Post Office Box 8883, St. Joseph, Missouri 64508, and we'll get those out to you free and post-paid. Just all you have to do is ask for the New World Order notes, and we'll get them out to you. But the reason that I brought all this up about the New World Order is that one time this was all laughed about and laughed off, and yet here it is, bigger than life and twice as natural. And now when anyone speaks of, and I've just begun to speak about it and been doing a lot of study on it, a lot of research on it, but what we really need to look at is not so much the New World Order as we have seen it in the past, or as we have looked at it in the past, being the European Union or the United Nations alone. We have something else that is at play, something else that is at force here behind the scenes that is making this all happen, and that is what's termed the caliphate. And people don't realize that this is actually the false prophet that is taking place here, that is moving its way forward, and it's going to cause the world to bow down before the Antichrist, whoever that he might be. And I believe that it's going to be someone throughout the European Union as it morphosizes itself into something else. It's continually been doing this for some years. This is really only the old Roman Empire changing its form and changing its name as it goes along. And one day it will have a new look and a new name. And it will be stationed out of, probably, most likely, Babylon. And there's been billions of dollars that's been thrown into Babylon even today as we speak, trying to build there in Iraq they have the largest embassy and consulate anywhere in the world, right there in Iraq, right around the area of Babylon. Why? Because they put billions of dollars there to rebuild that holy place of Nebuchadnezzar, to rebuild the Babylon of Nebuchadnezzar, the Hanging Gardens, and the whole shebang. And that's something that not too many of us know about because we haven't been privy to the study of it, but we'll be talking about that maybe later on as well. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the caliphate. This is one of the things that Glenn Beck brought up in February the 4th of 2010. And I'm going to be talking about that in just a moment, but I've got to take a break here. I'll be right back right after the break. God bless.